चले गए। उनकी टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस के पैसे बच्चों की पढ़ाई और घर खर्च में काम आ सकते हैं। पॉलिसी बाजार ने क्लेम के वक्त फैमिली का पूरा साथ दिया। पॉलिसी बाजार पे 2 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस सिर्फ 700 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
Someone to bring your vision into reality. When human vision meets artificial intelligence, storytelling enters new territory. 2 distinct categories: brand films, short films, evaluated by the best of the best. Seen by those who shape the industry, rewarded with a 10 lakh rupee prize pool, celebrated at What India Thinks Today, Delhi. AI Squared Awards, where artificial intelligence meets artistic imagination.
हमें स्वस्थ रखने वाली सारी चीजें ज्यादातर शुद्ध होनी चाहिए। सूर्य की किरणें और स्वच्छ पानी, वैसा ही है लाइन अरेबियन डेट्स। और अब लाइन लाइना डेट्स, इसमें फाइबर्स और विटामिन्स भी कुदरती हैं, जो देता है स्वास्थ्य भी कुदरती।
Lion Lina Premium Dates.
Well, on the second segment, we're addressing a debate that sits at the tri-junction of biological reality, workplace equality, and of course, the law of the land. The Supreme Court of India has turned down a plea seeking mandatory paid menstrual leave for students and workers across the country. Well, the court said that whilst the demand may look reasonable, making such leave compulsory could actually harm women in the long run. Chief Justice Suryakant clearly warned that employers might start avoiding hiring women if they have to give extra paid days off every month. The judges added that a mandatory law could create a perception of inequality and make women seem less reliable at work. At the same time, the Supreme Court has earlier this year recognized menstrual hygiene as part of a woman's right to health and dignity. So, today's ruling is not against women's health needs, but against turning leave into a compulsory rule. Now, this decision has sparked a fresh debate. On one side, studies show that the real difficulties women face. A Spanish study found that 25% of women reduced their work hours because of menstrual pain. A Dutch study reported that 81% of women experience lower productivity during periods. On average, women lose about 8.9 productive days every year due to their menstrual cycles. In India, a survey revealed that 86% of women support 2 to 3 days of paid leave. Some companies that already offer this policy say it helps them keep good employees. On the other side, many experts worry that mandatory leave could create hiring bias. Employers might think women are less dependable or that it reinforces old stereotypes. In Japan, even though the law allows menstrual leave, less than 2% of women actually use it. Most experts now suggest flexible working options instead of forced leaves. And beyond the workplace, the bigger problem in India is the deep-rooted taboo around menstruation. Around 355 million women still face stigma every month. Multiple peer-reviewed studies show that 71% of girls do not know what periods are before they start. 63% of schools avoid talking about it altogether. Because of this, 23 to 50% of girls miss school during their periods. Poor hygiene adds to health risks, and the silence, it only increases the shame. Big questions that we're trying to understand. Did the Supreme Court make the right call on menstrual leave? How can workplaces balance women's health and equal opportunity at the same time? And how can India break the stigma around menstruation? With us on the broadcast, Advocate Rekha Agarwal from the Supreme Court and somebody who's a social activist. Many thanks for taking on the time, ma'am. And Barkhat Rehan, equal rights activist, with us on the broadcast. You know, Advocate Agarwal, the Supreme Court's concern is that mandatory menstrual leave could unintentionally discourage employers from hiring women. How did you look at, the Supreme Court junking the entire plea? From a rights perspective, do you see this as a genuine concern, or is this an overestimation of workplace bias? Where does reality actually stand here?
I think we'll have to look at this in a very balanced manner. That we have to recognize the constitutional safeguards that women already have under the Constitution, Article 14 and 15, which guarantee equality and protect women from gender discrimination on the ground of sex. At the same time, one cannot ignore the fact that the biological problems that women face during their menstrual period, which is also a reality. So I think that what the Supreme Court has done, in the judgment today is taken a very pragmatic and balanced view of it, and left it as a policy decision which the government should decide. When you make anything compulsory, that it's mandatory to give menstrual leave. I don't think that one has to make it mandatory. It could be the option of the woman who wants to avail it, and this is something which is just a biological reality, which we, the employers have to recognize the fact that just as when women, when a lady employee becomes a mother, she needs maternity leave. It's a ground reality. She needs leave because she's become a mother. At the same time, if a female employee is having any problem during a menstrual cycle, not every woman has it, but if some woman has it and she needs leave, that should be taken not with any bias attached to it, but as a recognition of the fact that her body is in pain and she needs that leave for 2 or 3 days, so that it doesn't affect her work output. So I think that this is a matter which should best be left as a policy.
I was speaking to some of my, female friends and, women colleagues. They said that, every time they go out for a job interview, they are asked questions like, are you planning to get married soon? Are you planning to have children soon? That's where the hiring bias actually comes in. They are victims to these kind of questions. And many studies show that severe menstrual symptoms significantly affect productivity. But I'm trying to understand if menstruation still carries that stigma. It's in a large part of the Indian society, 355 million each month. Could recognizing this menstrual leave indirectly help normalize having that conversation around menstrual health?
I think that you're absolutely right. There is a stigma attached to it. And in fact, there was a movie also made by Akshay, I think Akshay Kumar, the actor, who recognized the fact that, girls, especially in schools, they face a lot of problem. And in our Indian society, it's a big taboo. We don't want to discuss this subject. We want to, just as we don't discuss sex in our country. There's a big taboo attached to it. At the same time, something like menstrual cycle is something we like to push under the carpet. It is something that a woman should be probably not talk about it. And I think more and more people are now coming out of the closet. Women have to come out of the closet and accept the fact, and so do the men of a country have to accept the fact that having a menstrual period in a month is something which a woman has no control upon. On the contrary, the moment her puberty starts and she becomes a reproductive woman, this is something which happens to her body which she's got no control upon. So I think more and more such kind of things must be taken in your stride. Accept the fact that she's a woman, she's going to have a monthly period. She may or she may not be in a physical pain. She may want a holiday, she may not want a holiday. This is something which is nothing to be ashamed about. If she wants to buy a sanitary pad from somewhere, and that is why in schools and in hotels, etc. I think I've learned that you can probably buy a sanitary pad. So I think that more and more we talk about it. I'm glad that somebody filed a PIL in the court. Though, of course, the court has said in the Supreme Court that no woman has come forward to file such a PIL. And there is, some questions about doubting the integrity of the person who's filed it. But I, as a woman, am happy that somebody dared to file. A man has dared to file it. A male person has filed a PIL. And I think that is very, very nice. And we should accept it as something which is just like you have a monthly, it's like a day and night cycle.
So a silver lining, even as the Supreme Court junks the entire plea. And you're right, this seems to be like a policy issue, not something that the Supreme Court has to deal with in the first place. But Barkat Rehan, the court's argument is essentially about unintended consequences. That's how, the Honorable Supreme Court put it. That mandatory leave may create this hiring bias, which I've already cited. Do you think that this concern reflects the actual reality of how employers in 2026, even today, they think if a company is required to offer additional paid leave specifically for women, wouldn't that influence hiring decisions? I mean, if you were a boss, what kind of decision would you make?
Kabir, I'm very, very happy that Justice Surikant minutely observed the whole thing. And I agree, I totally agree. Salute to him. I totally agree with him. Hiring will affect. Here, we all are here to support women. The whole country is supporting women. But we need to be careful not to suffocate their careers with kindness. This won't be kindness at all because the careers will affect. The Supreme Court has rightly said making menstrual leave a must for everyone could actually shut doors. If I was the boss, I will not hire a single woman. You ask me for my stand on this, I will never hire women. True empowerment isn't a forced day off that makes a boss hesitate.
No, wait a minute. Are we getting this right? You're saying you will never hire a woman if you have to pay, get through with paid leaves. Is that what you're saying?
No, for menstrual leave, I won't give any because that is very normal. See, it is very normal. Again, there is a lot of hue and cry on this. Didn't our mothers work 24/7? Did they ever cry about it? See, now things are changing and this is becoming a big issue for women. And if they talk about equality, they cannot bring up this issue. When we want to stand with men, then we have to work, we have to give the productivity. And again, if we are not coming up to the mark, we will not be hired. It's as simple as that. I will never hire a woman who wants to have these menstrual leaves. Let's not turn a biological reality into a professional barrier. This is my
that's exactly the point that Advocate Agarwal was also making. I'm asking you, Barkha, I'm asking you, if some company voluntarily introduces period leave policies,
I'm against it.
Isn't that a better path than legislation?
I'm against it.
You're against it completely.
What is equality?
Studies show that not all women, but some women are severely affected because of their menstrual cycles.
So there are leaves. You can take the sick leave. It's okay. But we cannot make it a mandatory thing. Not at all. I have a simple no, and I want if I have a daughter, I don't have a daughter, but if I had a daughter, I would have asked her to go in the boardroom and never ask for. She has to prove herself according to her work.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm just again trying to make sure that this is not about men versus women, and neither is this about women having to prove themselves. They have proven themselves during the course of history across all fields possible.
You are taking me wrong. I want individuals, women, powerful individuals. I'm not talking about men here. You have never discussed about men pain. Even men go through pain. We never discuss that. Forget them at all.
That's for another day. That's for another day. But point taken. We understand. So use sick leaves. You're saying use your sick leaves. Use your personal days. Don't have extra special period leaves because of this. Okay, fine. You know what?
True empowerment is promotion on your work. It is not a forced holiday or day off, you may say, on the cost of your growth. This will affect your growth.
So let's not jeopardize their careers because of this quote unquote kindness that we're trying to. Let's not suffocate them with the kindness. That those are your own words. Exactly. I'm completely running out of time. Barkha, let me bring in Advocate Agarwal. The final 20 seconds. I was speaking to one of my colleagues. They said though the idea of menstrual leave for women sounds considerate, it may also lead to less women in the workforce altogether. Again, supporting and seconding what the CGI said. Companies might hesitate to hire someone who is entitled to additional leaves. So women who have spent years fighting for inclusion and equal opportunities in the workforce could end up facing even more barriers when they're trying to secure jobs. This is a little note that I got.
I don't agree with this. On the contrary, a constitution ensures that there is no discrimination on this ground. And if an employer does not hire a woman only for this reason that she's a lady, this still shows that he's carrying a bias in his mind. We're not talking about any special privileges of women. All that we want is that there should be dignity at the workplace. If a woman has a period problem, if she's suffering a lot of physical pain, let us accept the fact that it is a biological fact that should be given recognition.
Okay. We heard you. I've completely run out of time here. Many thanks, Barkha. Many thanks, Advocate Agarwal, for taking out the time and speaking to us here on News 9. Menstruation is a biological reality for millions of women. But the question before policymakers now is how to address that reality without reinforcing stereotypes or limiting opportunities. Just like Barkha ji said, Don't suffocate them with kindness. We're going to leave you with that. That's all the time we have for you in this edition of In Your Interest. We're going to catch you again next week. Many thanks for watching.
I fight till the very last point. I know, but he's better than me. He's going